What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new series. I've done a scenario with a similar concept to this one before, but with Raditz as Goku's twin. Essentially so Goku and Raditz would grow up on Earth together. This time we'll change it a bit. Kakarot and Raditz are born separately, although Kakarot has a twin this time. A sibling separate from Raditz. How would this change the story? Let's begin what if Goku had a twin. Kakarot is born with a fraternal twin, not identical. Of course that means we basically have to make a new character. So why not bring back an old one? We're bringing back Ruta. In case you don't know, she's been in a few scenarios before. A hypothetical third child of Bardock and Guinea. A sister for Goku. I was surprised you guys liked her as much as you did, and since I rarely get to have her in a scenario, let's put her in this one. Kakarot and Ruta are born very weak, and when Bardock is suspicious of Frieza, he sends both of them to Earth. He actually had a wish before that his kids would grow and thrive. The wish and its effects are really vague because all Bardock wished for is that they'd grow up and thrive. Some interpret this as them being protected from death, up until they're adults like Goku and Raditz, and especially with Goku's death-defying stunts, that kind of makes sense. But just as easily, it could be an overall thing. Like, even if they have hardships or die along the way, it doesn't matter because long-term they'll be fine. That's another way to interpret it. Or it could just simply be protect them from Planet Vegeta's fate, making sure Frieza doesn't get to them. We're gonna go with that second option here. And this is relevant because, of course, this wish would apply to Ruta too, just as it would with Goku and Raditz. So keep that in mind as we go forward. I'm not saying that's the factual way the wish worked, I'm just saying that's how we'll interpret it for this specific scenario. Ruta and Kakarot land on Earth, with Gohan eventually finding them. Gohan also has Butterfingers and ends up dropping Kakarot, thankfully not Ruta. I think this would create a really interesting dynamic because Kakarot would lose his memories and Ruta would keep hers. So by all means, Goku is Goku here. Although Ruta remembers a lot, and also remembers the fact that his name is Kakarot. But Gohan still uses the name Goku, and Goku likes the name. He thinks Ruta should get an Earth name too, but she's gonna keep hers. Goku also ends up getting a new outfit, no longer wearing his Saiyan armor, but Ruta keeps hers on. Goku pretty quickly views himself as an Earthling, while Ruta still goes with the idea she's a Saiyan. Especially with Kakarot losing his memories, part of her wants to make sure she keeps those memories, and doesn't overwrite her Saiyan past. The two grow up knowing they're aliens. This doesn't really change much for Goku. Personality-wise, he's still Goku. He acts the exact same, he just knows more of his past. And of course he has a sister too. Plus, Ruta remembers the fact that they have another brother, but they have no clue of where he is, and Goku hopes that he comes to visit them someday. Ruta's not really too sure if that's a great idea, but she's sure Raditz will show up eventually. Although, she wonders if her parents survived, assuming they'll come to find both of them. It seemed like this was only temporary. She doesn't think they'll be stuck here for too long. This is like a temporary home for them. But as the days pass, she comes to realize they're probably not coming to get them. Assuming something happened with Planet Vegeta. Goku's not too bothered by it though. Ruta being around does jog his memories, and pretty much like what happened in the Granola arc, Goku gets memories of Bardock and Guinea back. Still, it doesn't really change who he is, he just remembers things this time. That's a big difference here with having Ruta around. Goku's definitely more good-hearted. Ruta is Saiyan-like, but not necessarily evil, more so just rowdy and uncontrolled. Bardock and Guinea thankfully are an influence on her, plus Gohan. So, I guess you could say she is a good person, but just needs to be guided down a better path. One night, Goku looks up at the moon, and ends up going Great Ape. He actually forgot about the fact that he could do this, but Ruta eventually does remember it. This is one thing that slipped Goku's mind, and honestly, hers too. It's like she instinctively knows it, but Goku doesn't. Thankfully, she doesn't transform, and she's able to save Gohan from being killed by Goku. Although Goku is way too strong for her to do anything against. But luckily, he's pretty mindless right now, so the two of them can outsmart Goku. And with help from Gohan, the two of them are able to get to his tail and cut it off, making Goku de-transform. Thanks to her having her memories, Grandpa Gohan of course doesn't die here. He continues teaching the two of them more about martial arts. The two grow at a really rapid pace. By Saiyan standards they are weak, but as Earthlings they're really strong. The two are equal right now. And one day they meet someone new. Bulma stumbles across them trying to get the Dragon Balls. Of course, that Dragon Ball is in Gohan's possession. At first she's pretty confused because Gohan says he found these two in the woods, and they're also aliens. She thought he was their literal grandpa. But hearing these two are aliens kind of freaks her out because that proves aliens exist. Well, it's not too strange, she's trying to summon a magical dragon, so hey, it's not really too absurd. The two join Bulma on her adventure, gathering the Dragon Balls. And with the two being on equal footing, and stronger than Goku normally was, this makes this journey a lot easier for them. The two are stronger than Goku normally was because, first of all, they could train with each other, and second of all, they've had Gohan for guidance, living much better lives and not having to fend for themselves like Goku did, although they have the skills to do that if needed. Weirdly enough, Goku's tail has even regrown, but he knows to avoid the moon now. He wants to keep his tail this time. He just woke up randomly and his tail was gone. He didn't even realize what happened. It was pretty painful though, but Ruta explained to him what happened and now he knows to avoid the full moon. This is the most interesting part of the whole journey for Bulma. There's a pair of twin aliens that landed here on Earth, and oddly enough they're very human-like, at least in how they look, but their natures are completely different. Goku's very good-hearted and naive, while Ruta's kinda easygoing but also a little bit more serious than her brother. And despite them being twins, She kind of takes on more of a guidance role, almost as if she's the older sister. It's a weird dynamic she notices. But it makes sense when she figures out Goku lost his memories, and Ruda's the only connection to their home. They meet the same people along the way too. You know, Oolong, Yamcha, Roshi, Ox King, Chi-Chi, the usual. Eventually they do encounter the Pilaf gang, but it's not an issue for the two of them, and Ruta prevents Goku from transforming. The Pilaf gang is defeated, but not killed. They'll be back later. And along this journey they ended up meeting Roshi, eventually training underneath him, with the two of them eventually meeting Krillin as well. The three grow together as martial artists, and eventually the 21st World Tournament rolls around. Goku and Krillin are glad to have their new gis on, but Ruta still wants to wear her Saiyan armor, although for this tournament she can't wear armor, but she still doesn't put the orange gi on. She just simply takes her armor plates off. She really wants to keep that connection to home, especially because the false hope that her parents will eventually show up. It's weird. She doesn't realize that Saiyans aren't normally like this, but she actually feels a connection to her family, especially with Goku around. And she hopes Bardock and Guinea will show up. She has those memories of them, even if they're few and far between. Those two sent them to Earth for a reason, and wanted them to survive. Survive what? She's really curious about that, and that's why she identifies so strongly with her Saiyan side. Goku doesn't feel the same way, but does respect it and gets why she feels that, even if he can't fully understand. But Ruta has started to embrace Earth more, mainly thanks to Goku and Gohan. In the 21st World Tournament, Roshi of course enters but can't fight both of them. Goku vs. Ruda is the semi-final match, and it's really abundant in this fight that the two of them are dead even in power. Even in skill too, Goku is more of a prodigy, while Ruta actually is smarter. Goku adapts quicker, but she's more tactical. But otherwise they fight pretty much the same. They're both Saiyans, they're twins. They both grew up under Gohan and train under Roshi as well. By all means, they have equal levels of skill and power. The fight ends with a double knockout, pretty much like Goku's fight with Ten in the 22nd World Tournament. Ruta is declared the victor because Goku hits the ground first, but only by like a second sooner. It's a really close call too. And even though this fight proves that they're dead even, Goku makes a promise to his sister. He will grow stronger, strong enough where this won't be an even fight anymore. And she doesn't consider this a huge victory for her, especially because she basically won on a technicality. Goku could have won just as easily. The two of them are going to push each other further. The final match is Roshi versus Ruta. Actually, not Roshi, Jackie Chun. Sorry for the confusion, I thought Roshi was here, but no, it's Jackie Chun. Completely different guy. She's a bit of a problem for Jackie Chun. And while it's not Roshi she's fighting, Roshi was concerned before, just like he was about Goku, in terms of the fact that both of them are strong. Whoever he had to fight at the end, he wants to beat them so they can learn a lesson. It's not to shatter their pride or anything. It just wouldn't be wise if he let them win their first tournament so easily. Ruta knows to avoid the moon and she doesn't go Great Ape, which also makes the fight tougher for her because she knowingly has to try and avoid it. Because she's scared of what would happen if she transforms. She's never transformed. But even if her trying to avoid the moon wasn't a factor, she definitely would still lose here. It ends with a beam clash and Roshi overpowers her Kamehameha, although he's pretty impressed. That definitely wasn't an easy battle, and it could have just as easily been Goku he was fighting against, or even Krillin. Although he is the weaker of the three, but still, that could have been a possibility. Either way, the outcome would have been the same, but the fact that it was so close impresses him. Gohan's watching on in the crowd too, proud to see how these two have grown. He would have entered himself, but he's kind of past that point he feels. He just wants to nurture the next generation, as does Roshi. When the Red Ribbon arc rolls around, well, the Red Ribbon army is defeated really easily. Imagine 2 Gokus here instead of 1. And not just 2 Gokus, 2 stronger Gokus, because that's essentially what's happening here. And especially with Ruta indulging more in her Saiyan side, the destruction of the army is a little bit more insane. It's not like she's being sadistic here, but she's definitely having fun just blowing everything up. Although this leaves Krillin in a weird spot, especially after the tournament. He really wants to catch up to the both of them because so far he's been left behind. He's still seen some great growth as a warrior, but he really wants to catch up to them. He knows they're both aliens too, so he kind of chalks it up to that because that definitely is part of the reason, but also, these two are his good friends. He's their rival. Regardless, he'll surpass them. And either way, over time he'll grow closer with them. Goku's definitely more of a best friend to him. And while he's friends with Ruta, it's not as close as it is with Goku, because weirdly enough, he gets nervous around her, and he's not exactly sure why. But she's pretty friendly to him. Even though with Goku she takes more of a guardian role, with Krillin she's not like that. She just looks out for Goku a lot, even though at times he feels he doesn't really need that. More time passes and the 22nd World Tournament rolls around. For the semifinals, the first fight is Goku versus Krillin, a match between best friends and rivals. Krillin has really grown a lot, and it shows in this fight. Power-wise, Goku's still ahead, but in terms of strategies and techniques, Krillin's ahead. He's really put his mind to it the past few years. He's kind of accepted by now that Goku and Ruta being aliens probably makes them an advantage in terms of power. And of course he has focus on growing stronger physically, but he knows there's more to being a great warrior than just that. And especially if he wants to get ahead of these two, he'll need to leverage other options. And because of that, the fight's pretty close, but Goku ends up winning. In the crowd, everyone else is watching. Bulma and Yamcha are still here too, and they can't believe how much Krillin's applied himself in the past few years. He's really becoming a great warrior, so is Goku too. But they're more interested in the next match, Ruta vs 10. Roshi's in the crowd now too. Weirdly enough, he wasn't here before, but Jackie Chun was. Anyways, he's watching, and he wonders how Ruta will fare against him. This one's also an incredibly close match. From just a raw power scaling standpoint, I'd say by now in the story it would make sense that she's stronger than 10. Not by a massive margin, and 10 still has better experience. This is a really tough fought battle. And I'd like to say Ruta has the edge here, just because Goku was so close to winning originally, and if we're assuming that her and Goku are stronger and more skilled here, it would make sense that she wins, although still, it's not an easy battle. The final fight is Goku vs Ruta, a rematch just like before, and they're both ready to showcase the fruits of their training. Just as they promised, they've been pushing each other beyond their limits, both as martial arts rivals and as siblings. When one of them grows, the other does too. Ruta even tries to apply some things 10 was using in their fight, just to throw Goku off. The two of them have the same skill set, so she has to think outside the box. Although, Goku expected that. He studied how she fought against 10, as well as how 10 fought against her. She's not the only one who learned from that fight. He was watching very closely. As I said before, she's trying to be way more tactical, but Goku's adapting really quickly as well. They both are very adaptable fighters, but in different senses. When it comes to battle, they're both geniuses. The battle is pretty explosive, and it even ends with them going up into the sky, jumping so high that it almost looks like they're flying. But then the two of them fall from the sky above, each crashing into the ring below. Mid-air, they launch a blast at each other, pushing each of them out of the ring again. But quickly, Goku lets go of his blast and then launches it backwards, also spinning his tail around to act as a propeller. He jumps right over Ruta's Kamehameha, barely avoiding it and still getting singed by it. But he hits her with a powerful flying kick, and uses her basically as a footstool, knocking her even farther out of the ring, while he lands back in the ring perfectly okay. Although the two of them are equally beat up here, both very tired out and injured. Once again, it's a really close fight, but Goku won this time. The two had a lot of fun, and Roshi's proud of them. He actually feels really happy. Of the final 4 contestants, 3 of them were his students. And of course, one of his students won. What a great way to end this tournament. He looks forward to celebrating right after. As they leave the tournament, Krillin realizes he forgot something. But he runs into something terrifying. Tambourine's there. This time he's not alone though. Ruta followed behind him, just so the group wouldn't get separated. Just like how she acts like a guardian to Goku, that's kind of starting to rub off on how she treats everybody else. Tambourine's about to attack Krillin, and in the nick of time she gets there. Just as Tambourine attacks, she uses all her power to launch in, but she's pretty beat up already, and very worn out from the last match. She tackles Krillin and barely has enough time to get him out of the way from Tambourine's attack. And this makes Tambourine happy. He's gonna get 2 for 1 here. The two stand against Tambourine, equally terrified. They don't know who this guy is, but he's clearly really strong. Not too far away, Goku and his friends hear a scream. They run over to where Krillin is, and then they see him fly through a wall. Goku catches him. He's badly hurt, but he's alive. And weakly he points over to the roof, as Tambourine bursts through the roof and flies away, thinking that he killed Krillin, but also knowing that he killed another person. Goku immediately runs into the room, left speechless at the sight of Ruta dead on the ground. Goku is stunned, feeling an immense rage that he's never felt before. He doesn't want to believe what he's seeing, but he knows what he's seeing is true. And with that, we leave out here for now. What do you guys think of this story so far, and what's going to happen next? Pretty grim ending for part 1, I know, but trust me, it won't be this grim the entire time. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps out the channel and shows me you want to see more like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.